So, have you ever noticed that, or have you ever experienced it yourself? Majority of people they start New Year with motivation, but and then they always find themselves exactly the same place that they started. Right? They make a promise to themselves. They say set up great and incredible goals. They think like this year is gonna be different and it's gonna be really great. But after a couple of weeks, they fall into similar habits, same routine, and same life. Truth is, your life doesn't change because the calendar changed, right? Your life changes when principle changes. That's basically what Stoic philosophy teaches, right? You know what? For nearly 2,000 years, Stoic philosophy thinking like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca have actually provided timeless wisdom and strong, powerful rules that have shaped so many people's lives. These rules have helped people to face criticism, uncertainty, challenges, failure, and all of the problems you can count on. And surprisingly, these rules are much more relevant now you think it is. So in this video, I'm gonna share my favorite, one of the most powerful, one of the most relevant Stoic rules that's gonna help you to navigate 2026 with a great habit, with a clear mind, with a clear sense of purpose. So if you're tired of drifting through your life, I think it's gonna be a really great video to understand, to listen, and to be able to take a note, because I'll make sure that this is gonna be worth it. So hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tommy. Well, my YouTube channel we talk about Stoic philosophy and Stoic philosophy that help you to change your life in modern life, to be able to have a clear purpose, with intention, with a great purpose. That's why we do here. If you like it, please subscribe button. I hope this is gonna be worth video to watch. Okay, so let's start with the first idea. First idea is that don't have opinion about everything, right? So Marcus Aurelius, the guy who had mentioned earlier, he was a king of the Rome. He said that he would empathy on that. You don't have to have an opinion about everything, right? He would say that we have to have this power in us to choose to have no power at all about what's happening to us, right? What's happening around the world. We don't have to need opinion about it at all, because we're not forced by the nature or by the world to have a judgment or to have opinion about what's happening, right? And my favorite YouTuber and out there Ryan Holiday, I really guys recommend him to watch. He's a really great guy. He said that of course, I was listening to his podcast. He actually mentioned that in 2026, your life is gonna be filled with so much problem. I promise you, your life will be distracted by the newses, by the trends, by the hot topics, right? But this, all of the informations, I think it's really far too much for individual like you, like me, to be able to handle, to be able to, can process it, right? Of course, there's so many things that is really matter. There's so many things that it can require our attention, our focus, but some of the thing doesn't, right? So during holiday would say that things are not asking to be judged by you, right? Point is, you're gonna make sure neglect the thing that's not really important, right? This is one of the most important idea here. You have to neglect the thing which is not working, which doesn't worth your opinion. For example, having an opinion about other people, or having an opinion about things happening to us. Do you think it's important? Do you think it's really crucial to you? Do you think that it has any benefit for you? No? Well, then skip it. Just neglect it, right? By deciding to have no opinion about what's happening around you, you're able to preserve one of the most important thing in your life, which is your time, which is your energy, right? Rather than simply swayed by unnecessary, noise. Next one, focus what is up to you, right? So my favorite philosopher Epictetus, he said it's actually one of the most essential tasks in life, right? Ryan Holiday would also emphasize the importance of Stoic philosophy. He said life is divided into two categories. The first one is some things are up to us, some things are not up to us, right? So you know what, you're gonna have to acknowledge that life is inherently chaotic. Life is inherently overwhelming. Life is gonna be challenging. It has been before, as before, now, what's gonna happen in the future, right? We cannot control everything that happened to us, nor we cannot control what people think, the action, the opinion, but we have always absolute power and control what we think, right? Our internal dominant. It includes our choices, our belief, our will, and our way of responding what's happening to us, right? Idea from here is that when you're able to control, when you're able to realize it, that you are controlling, you're focused only the thing that is essential for you. Basically, it's essential part of a life, as Epictetus said, right? Because it's really great, right? Because now you're focusing on the thing that you can control as a human being, which also served as an essential task, foundation of Stoic philosophy. Our third idea, you need to cut out everything. Again, you need to cut out everything that is not essential, right? So the Marcus Aurelius would always suggest us to ask that question every single day, every moment, and every single time. Is that essential? Anything you do in life, any task, people you meet, the thing that you handle, ask that, is that essential? If the answer is no, Stoic philosophy would always approach to demolish it. It means they would say, no, I'm not gonna do that because it's not essential, right? You know what? Most of the things that we do in life, unfortunately, are falling into the category that doesn't really help us, doesn't really move the needle to our goal. The things are included in our obligation, and this glittering distraction that still our mind, or this simple thought doesn't really have any pretty meaningful result in our life, right? When you're able to eliminate non-essential tasks from your life, you're actually able to gain two important advantages. The first advantage is that you can stop wasting your time on a thing, or you're wasting your energy on a thing that doesn't really matter, right? It's really crucial, isn't it? Second one is you can actually be able to have more strengths and more capacity to spend on the thing which is really essential, which is really important in your life, right? So by coming into 2026, by when you're about to, when you are now, we are living in the middle of 2026. When you are living in 2026, you have to at least one goal. This goal, that you have to stop squandering your time on thing which doesn't really important, which doesn't really give any benefit, right? Our next idea, wake up early. Wake up early. You know what? Morning is really quiet. Morning is really calm. Morning is one of the most golden time. Why? Because the day has just begun recently. Why? Because there's a fewer distraction, there's a fewer demand or place on you, which actually make one of the most important period in your life to focus on you, focus on your progress, focus on your personal growth, right? So I get it. I really understand. Waking up early is not an easy task, right? Because I've been struggling personally for a couple of years. I usually choose sleeping over waking up early, which of course I always regretted. Even as a matter of fact, Marcus Aurelius, the guy who known as one of the best and greatest guy ever walked the earth, he was also struggling to wake up early, right? He was asking that question. He was arguing in the book, in his meditation. He would say, I have to wake up early in the morning as a human being to do my job, right? So the most important key lesson from here is that you were not put in here on earth to just, to handle under the blanket or stay warm. You put here for something. Do that something. You put it here to find your purpose. Find your purpose. You put it here to your job. Do your job as a human. I just want to encourage or remind for everyone that this time, that golden time in the morning, is really important. You should really have to treat it as a special opportunity, right? Like when you wake up in the morning, instead of just reaching to your phone or stuck into distraction, think like morning as a great time for getting done, get most important thing out of the way, right? Because when you wake up in the morning, it means you win the day. When you win the day, you'll win the life. When you win the life, you will win yourself. That's the kind of plan for you if you want to follow up. Our next idea, journal end of the day. Journaling is important. You know what? Stoicism and journaling are fundamentally related and link it to each other. You cannot practice one without another. If you want to practice Stoic philosophy, next journal has to be, or if you want to practice journaling, next Stoic philosophy has to be. They are always come together. So given that 2027, the upcoming year, is likely to be frustrating, likely to be overwhelming, likely to be chaotic, even 2026 is as being really hard, right? This journaling provides a structured way to be able to copy with, to handle with external pressure, rather than let them to handle us, rather than external problem to dominate and overwhelm us, right? My favorite philosopher is Seneca. Seneca would say that we should always integrate each other, integrate ourselves before we go to bed, before the end of the day, right? He would always wait until his wife fallen asleep, and he would sit down with his journal for putting a day for review. It's actually kind of practice that involves some structural things, which I'm gonna tell you after a couple of seconds. The first one, when you start writing, you have to make sure analyze it. What you did well today, right? What kind of thing you think you've accomplished it? What kind of thing you have done which makes you proud? Second thing, identify the thing where you fell short, the thing you couldn't do, the thing you could have done better, the thing that you feel a little bit not sure about, right? Make sure and understand that nothing passes by you, right? When you put for the day, review your day for, when you put your day for review, make sure nothing passes by you. Put everything down to paper. Understand? Everything. Yeah, it's really important. When you prepare yourself, especially when you prepare yourself in the evening, you're kind of able to wind down your day effectively and perfectly. Why? Because now you have known what you did today, where you have fell short, and what thing that what made you feel proud, right? Which also gonna give you great benefit for upcoming day. You'll be much prepared for upcoming day as well. There's so many benefits of journaling. Actually, I've counted a few. I hope you can do it. Our second rule: stop giving your time away. Stop giving your time away, please. So, you know what's crazy? The crazy is that we generously become really protected of our money, our property, maybe our car or clothes or our house. But some strange reason we surprisingly become frivolous with our time. Well, if you don't know, I'll tell you, time is one of the most renewable energy you have, the most important thing you have, because you will never be able to make up more. You will never be able to copy up more. Money can be replicated, money can be made more, but your time, no, you come back. Time passes, the sneakers say, belong to death. It means time is gone. It's just gone as death, right? You're never able to bring it back. So you have to make sure, understand that you have actually limited time a day. You have a limited hour a day. You have a limited day a year. So you're gonna make sure you have to spend them really, really carefully. You must be intentional with your time. You have to make sure how you're spending your time every single day, right? You have to make sure treat your time as the most precious asset you will have. That way, I'm pretty sure you will never be regret of how you would spend your time when you become, older, like 80 or 70. Our next rule: do something for common good every single day. If we just put it simple, help someone. So my favorite YouTuber and author I mentioned him, Brian Holiday, would discuss that, what, the life that we live right now will inevitably will be challenging, right? Now, but before there was a bit bad people, there is a bad people now, and there will be bad people in the future. There is a bad thing now, there was a bad thing, there will be a bad thing in the future. Life will be hard, life will be challenging. In 2026 or 2027, there will be things that you may not like it, right? One of the best way to avoid living like that in a bad word is to not contributing to it, right? Period. Idea is that, of course, well, that's unfortunate that life is bad, but you can't do nothing there unless you are being bad, right? You have to make sure you're not contributed for it, right? So like Stoic, let me just tell you, Stoic philosophy it's not just about, you know, help growth thing. It's not about just, self growth. No, it is, but it's not mainly. Stoic philosophy is deeply rooted around helping other people, improving the society around us, right? It just coming from Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, would discuss in his book Meditation roughly 80 times about common good. He would say help other people. He would say be kind to other people, right? He would say that the the best result of living good is built on good character, an active performance of helping other people and benefiting other people in life. I mean, that's really crucial, right? You can make sure I understand that. I know, in life, usually we have our problem, we have our challenges, but helping other people also really important in Stoic philosophy. That's actually what the Marcus Aurelius would highlight it in his very important book in meditation. Our next idea, silent distraction, right? In modern life, in hyper connected life that we live, we are bombarded constantly by noise, by news, by trends, by this kind of outrageous things, right? Which have no impact at all to our lives and our goals. And for Stoic, Marcus Aurelius would say that to live in meaningful life, you must learn how to ignore irrelevance, right? That's what Marcus Aurelius would say in his book. I mean, it's a really important idea. He would say, so what does it mean? You have to create your own environment, right? Your bedroom, the place you sleep, shouldn't be should be a place for only relaxing and reflection. It's not just about, it doesn't have to be a place to stimulate, to scrolling or to waste your time, right? By eliminating your phone or your TV or computer from this place where you sleep, where you take a rest, can you be able to prevent your mind is being hijacked by external information upon you wake up or before you go sleep, right? So you can understand that by eliminating this unessential, apps or limited amount of time you spend for consuming the social media, you're kind of able to stop wasting your time on a thing that doesn't really, move the needle. Yeah, that's a really important idea. So one of the most important goal from here is to one of the most important goal from here is to train like important goal is to train ability like concentrating like a robot. The idea is that from here is training to lock in only for one task, as this task is one of the most important tasks, only one of the most matter tasks in your life, right? But rather than just getting distracted by all the noise and all the thing happening around us, when you clear out all the inessential and all the unimportant things from your life, you'll be able to give you some more space and the thing that is essential and the thing is really important, and eventually you'll be able to be in tranquility. You'll be able to become tranquil stage, even though life around you or world around you seems shaking, seems uncertain. Next one, pause before react. Pausing before react. So it's actually the principle uh, kind of rudely advised by ancient Stoic philosophy Athenodorus. Athenodorus was actually suggested advice for future emperor Octavian. He was I'm not sure actually which emperor he was. Maybe it was Rome, but he was a very popular Asian philosopher, Asian and like Stoic philosopher. He would say that Athenodorus would say that every time, whenever the Octavian felt wanted to act out of anger, so Athenodorus would suggest him to count the Greek alphabet, 24 Greek alphabet. So goal from here is not to surpass your anger or stop feeling this emotion that triggered. Goal from here is to stop act impulsively because of these feelings, because of this anger, because of this feeling, right? No, Stoic philosopher, they were yeah, this is actually really important idea from here, right? Because as long as I know, there's so many people, there's so many things, and I've read so many emperor or so many big kings. They actually destroyed it, their lives. Have destroyed it, their own life because of anger problem. So by doing this, it's gonna be great. By doing this, we're actually able to build up discipline. We being able to build up great thing to become good person. Our next idea: always challenge yourself. Always challenge yourself. You know what? Life is inherently challenging. Life is inherently always hard. So you should get used to being uncomfortable for being uncomfortable, right? That's the only way. Well, the best way to live in a hard life is you should be comfortable for being uncomfortable, rather than just constantly seeking ease. So like if I just steal from the Seneca would always set aside certain days in a month or years. He would live on little food, and he would live in the floor. The idea was not being trying to become miserable by living such a bad life. The idea was he was trying to be up close and comfortable in the condition that most people were afraid of, right? By doing this, by always seeking challenges, by always seeking hardships in life, you will be able to build resilience, you will be able to build courage, and you will ultimately be able to like confident to handle challenges that life may throw your way. That's the best way actually I can tell you. So ultimate goal from here is that you should be familiarize yourself with the condition, but the state that people are patronized for. Ultimately, you can remove this power that fear has over you and over us, right? Our last and the most important one. Put every impression, your test, opinion to the test. So it's actually really, this principle is one of the fundamental to living Stoics, right? You know, when you have opinion, or when you have thought, when you have this feelings, emotion, doesn't mean they're all actually correct, doesn't mean they're all true, doesn't mean they're all accurate. Let me just put that way, right? Epictetus would say, one of my favorite philosophers, he would say that he would suggest philosopher should always test their first impression, the opinion, as the money changer would test the currency for a country field. By banging into a table, you can actually determine whether the assumptions or your information that the people are telling you are true or false, right? So you know what? Stoic philosopher were not emotionless. No, they were not emotionless, but they were training. They were training to to act accordingly, say, so that they wouldn't act impulsively over this emotion. I think that's really important thing that you should. There's so many big misconception about this in Stoic philosophy. So yeah, okay. By doing this, right? So when you, yeah, as I mentioned before, you should always remind yourself your first impression, your first test is not always right, right? Because by testing your first by testing your first impression, your test, you can be sure that you are governed, you're controlled by reason, logic, and your ideal ethnic code, rather than just raw or unchecked direction, right? So one of the most important rule and ultimate rule from here is to develop discipline, to test your impression, to test your goal, to test your emotion, to test your mind, so that your mind is not being blindly controlled by some delusional, some kind of wrong assumption about love in 2026. Okay guys, thank you for listening. I hope some of the rules that I shared with you are gonna help you. Please try to understand, try to watch again, because these rules have helped me a lot over the years, which I've been learning philosophy, still philosophy for almost 3 years, and over the 3 years I was able to learn a lot from these rules. I've been using some of them a lot. Of course, I'm not asking you to use all of them, because the rules are really hard to do, really hard to implement it. You need so many years, I mean, maybe decade to be able to master of them. But please pick at least 2 or 3 rules for 2023, 2026. Try to master of them. Try to just see how your life will be shifted and change it for better slowly. Well, thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.